was that like growing up with a family that was in the funeral home industry?
Uh, Dad would never come to any baseball games, any football games, any. So you basically you missed a lot of the family time, or you had to make up a lot of the family time because the business is time consuming.
Okay.
It's rewarding,
Yeah.
but it is time consuming.
Okay. And when you were younger, did you see yourself doing what you're doing today, or did you have other ideas?
I had other ideas. Okay. I wanted to become an airplane pilot.
Oh, wow.
But in the 6th grade, they gave me these things.
Oh.
So that kind of threw that out of the window. But I'm not, I love the choices that I made.
Okay.
I'm satisfied.
At what point did you make that choice?
I made that choice in 1983. I had finished high school, finished college, and was working as a paralegal.
Oh.
And my dad had a catastrophic illness that almost took him out. And at that point, I felt that it was time for me to actually be trained and to try to continue the business.
Okay, so your father fell ill, and you wanted to be a good son and help with the family business. It's been around for decades and decades.
There you go.
And you did some training for it?
Well, basically by South Carolina law at that particular time, you were required to be licensed. You were required to, and in order to be licensed, you had to go to mortuary school. Basically, to do that, I chose to go to Gunton Jones in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
I chose to not only take the funeral director's course, but also the embalming course.
All right.
So that I would be fully licensed.
Yeah.
In South Carolina, you can be a funeral director without being an embalmer.
Okay.
But you cannot. But all embalmers are also funeral directors.
Oh, okay.
But I just chose to have it all, to be well-rounded.
How long was that training?
The training was, since I had a college degree, the training was 1 year.
Okay.
Okay. For someone who, because you can go directly to mortuary school from high school, and that training would be 2 years.
Okay. And you said Piedmont Tech is the only school in South Carolina?
Piedmont Tech is the only school in South Carolina.
Okay. You can go for 2 years.
But you already have, you also have Fayetteville Tech.
Okay.
In North Carolina, and Gunton Jones in Georgia. And those are the 3 that are closest.
Okay. So after your 2-year mortuary science degree, you would be a funeral director and an embalmer.
Almost. Because South Carolina requires that you have that you complete a 1-year apprenticeship.
Okay.
Under a licensed funeral director.
Okay.
And a licensed embalmer if you're going for both. And of course, prior to that, or while that is happening, then you have to pass the test, the national board test.
So you did the apprenticeship as well?
Yes.
Okay. You did it to help with the family business, and then at what point were you like, wow, I like this more than being a paralegal?
The entire time.
Oh, wow.
Really, I mean, really and seriously, I don't think it was a matter of I liked it better than being a paralegal. I liked it. The paralegal experience helped me with that. Because being in this business, it does take people skills.
Right.
And because you're meeting people really seriously at dealing with the worst thing that can happen to them at that time. So being a paralegal helped me to understand people at a bad part in their life. And so also gave me some of the skills in order to move to assist people with moving past that. And so that's what I like that.
So you liked it basically immediately.
Oh,
And you appreciated your paralegal experience.
definitely.
To help with that transition. And so you've been doing it for a while now. What would you say you enjoy the most about it?
The most that I enjoy is those families that we have met who come back and tell you how much you helped them through that particular situation. Are those families that we have met that come back to us as a repeat customer?
Wow.
Because of the things that you said, the things that you've done are the things that you've done just to help them through, because this is a process, and it's more than just handling the deceased individual at that particular time. It's about helping that family through that process of grieving. Okay, so that's what I like about it.
Helping the family.
Definitely.
Yeah. What's the hardest part?
Babies.
Babies. Yeah.
Babies.
Yeah.
Especially the hardest that I've had to deal with has been abuse, child abuse, or death due to child abuse, infant child abuse, and that, I think that's it has an effect on me.
Yeah. Well, how do you deal with that?
You compartmentalize. Basically, or I compartmentalize. My job is to assist that family, and I have to look at what I have to do and make a plan as to how I can get them through this particular part of their life, and also to make sure that they have the resources in order to rebuild. To attempt to rebuild, because you cannot replace a life, and we understand that, and you cannot replace the way that a death occurred or the memories of the way that a death occurred, but you can give them the resources in order to strengthen their faith walk, their beliefs, all of the things that they need in order to cope.
Right. It sounds like, you go beyond just funeral services. You're doing kind of like grief counseling, essentially, it sounds like.
Well, I don't get into the counseling part of it, but the resources are there.
Yeah.
I can, we have an excellent list of grief counselors, certified grief counselors, that we can send people to, that they can help with. We also have the list of pastors, if there are people of faith that assist. It's a community effort, so it's not just one thing.
Right. Do you have any suggestions for a high school student that is interested in this industry and not sure what they should do to prepare?
Go and talk to your funeral director, or go and talk to your local director. We are not people who are, who just basically drive cars and or that you see walking inside of a church or a facility. We are human beings also, and so talk to us about the industry. And we can give you insight. We can give you because it's like with everything else. We can talk about the glorious part. That's the part that everybody sees. Everybody sees us in our suits and shirts, ties, shoes shined, and processions and that sort of thing. But there's a part that's behind the scenes also. There's a part that I would tell you to take some business courses to look and know your math. Look at how you treat people. Death has no concern about what time it is. It can occur at 12 o'clock at night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, as well as anytime from 8 to 5. So this may not be a 8 to 5 type of type of employment.
Hmm.
But yes, that would be the first thing that I would tell anybody would be to come and sit down and talk to a funeral director.
Right. Are there any opportunities for a high school student to maybe help or volunteer to start, seeing if it's something they would want to pursue after high school?
Yes,
Okay.
most funeral directors offer, especially during the summer, they
Mm-hmm.
offer some. We try to offer summer programs or interior summer programs, so that people can see, our some students can see the inner workings of a funeral
Right.
of a funeral home, because it is, there are opportunities that we do teach people how to wash a car, but something as simple as that. We do we do teach them how to, the importance of taking care of details,
Okay.
placing a casket in a particular spot, placing the flowers in a particular area, those sort of things. So taking care of details, even as I'm a funeral director, and I'm not ashamed to pick up a broom and a mop.
Right.
So it's a matter of doing the entire thing and showing the entire process. So yes, there are some opportunities. The second thing is for a high school student, yes, but most of all, funeral directors basically require that you have a good driving record.
Okay.
Definitely a good driving record, and be wary, not wary, but be aware that some funeral homes, a lot of times our insurance will not allow us to allow younger people younger than 18 to drive our cars.
Yeah.
Basically, so, but they can work on our cars. They can work in the building and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, but there are some opportunities.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So what would that process be like? You said when a family contacts you, they've just lost a loved one. How long is that process? Is there like a step-by-step plan that you go by?
Every situation is different.
Okay.
But yes, there is a step-by-step. When we are contacted, basically, it depends on where the death occurs. If death occurs in the hospital, then we're contacted by the nursing supervisor or someone who's authorized to release those remains. We send people to retrieve those remains almost immediately. They are brought here and placed in our preparation room, and then we contact the family and try to offer them or try to determine what their next step would be, because everybody does not have a funeral, everybody does not want a burial, so forth and so on. We ask them if they want the remains prepared or embalmed, which is the basically disinfecting and preservation of the remains until such time that a tribute or a funeral with that body present will be held, and then we go from there. Then it's just, like I said, it's a step by step. I read the other day, well, not the other day, I read that, in the planning of a service, there are over 250 decisions that need to be made from the point of death to the point of burial, to the point of disposition. So there are basically 250 decisions that are questions that we have to ask or get an answer to, and a lot of them depends on those answers. A lot of, is, if you say you want this, then okay, then that allows us to do this. You need this, and this, and this, and so.
It's like a full assessment. It sounds like
it is,
and it takes less than a week from start to finish.
It takes less than a week from start to finish most of the time.
Wow. Have you ever had a situation where you were maxed out and you had to tell the hospital or the family, I'm sorry, we can't service you at this time?
No, ma'am.
No, okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
My dad used to have a saying, "There's always room for one more."
Okay.
So yes, no, I have never had the opportunity to say no, we're maxed out.
Wow.
Now we've had the opportunity. What we've had to do is rearrange scheduling,
Right.
and that if a family wanted to have a service on Saturday and we already have two, then we have to say that we can't have that. We cannot perform that particular service at that particular time. But
so sometimes you're handling multiple arrangements.
Definitely.
Okay. Wow. So a lot of organization involved.
A lot.
Yes. And how many do you have on your team?
20.
Wow. Okay.
Now a lot of them are part time and
okay.
On a case by case basis. That's
20. What type of skills do you look for a person to work on your team?
I look for people skills. More than anything else, I look for people skills. What is the Maya Angelou saying that people will remember where people don't remember?
Don't remember how you made it.
Yeah, they don't remember what you said, but how you made them feel. Okay,
that makes sense.
But that's more than anything. The people skills and basically whether or not those individuals are able to perform, because it's a lot of time under pressure, especially during certain types of death. Traumatic death, shootings, those sort of things. It causes a lot of commotion within the community itself. So that puts pressure on us in order to peacefully transition from, so, you look for people, who are able to diffuse situations, or people who are able to basically to handle stress. But that's it.
So it can be a lot of stress sometimes.
It can be.
Wow. Well, are we able to take a tour of your facility?
There's just one room that we cannot go in.
Right.
It is occupied, and we do respect the privacy of the people that we have. But yes, you're welcome.
Okay, here's our conference room.
This is our merchandising room. Basically, these are our these are our dresses, and we also have suits for men. You will see that we also have caskets. In South Carolina, a funeral home is required at this point to have 8 full-size caskets, so of different models and styles. So therefore, we have met that by the choices that we made in merchandising. All of our caskets range in price from $11.95 up to $24,000.
Yes.
So just to give people a range from what they are. So any funeral director will probably have a a range of caskets so that they are able to offer their pricing in, for families of different financial needs. Okay. Most of us, I should say all of us, our services don't change according to the finances of a person. But basically, but people want their loved one to look, or they want to bury them, or they want to present them in the way that they are during life. These are also caskets, but these are what we call corners. They're not full-size caskets, but they give you an idea as to what the casket could look like.
Okay. Just other sample options, kind of.
Okay. These are our urns. Urns are used for cremated remains. You have some that are designed for burial. The most of what you see here is designed for for keepsakes or for, or for showing. I do have this.
Oh, is that bamboo?
This is bamboo. But what comes along with this is a tree.
A tree.
Okay, so it provides the spur as the basis for which to plant a tree.
That's so neat. Okay. I've never heard of that.
That is awesome.
So just something a little bit different. Okay. Now we're going into the back room.
Okay.
So we're not in the another thing that we're doing. This is what's called a lift from the table to the casket.
Okay.
Also, we can use it to transport the body from the gurney to the table. This is an embalming table. It looks very similar to an operating table. Since we were expecting you, we sort of just laid out some of the instrument. Of course, we use our PPE, our gloves, our masks, our gowns, and so forth and so on. What you see are some of the instruments. Some of the instruments that we have: scalpels, cannulas, aneurysm trunk card. Now the trunk card. In most movies, they tell you about embalmers have these long needles. This is the long needle.
Okay.
To actually drain the body, the semi-liquid and liquid fluids from within the body. So this is what's used to do that. Actually, this one is used to inject some fluid in, but it's the same principle.
Okay.
Like I said, this is we're going through the back. What this is the buyer. This is where the casket is placed. Okay. These are the lamps that are turned on, so that you will find that most of our lamps are not exactly white lights. They have a red hue, which actually gives the person, the deceased individual, a lifeline. Look, I don't like to use a lot of makeup, so I use some lighting, and then this room is designed that it will never get dark.
Wow.
Okay, so we try to make our those who we come in contact with as natural as we possibly can. On some funerals we use makeup, a lot of makeup on people. I don't. I like natural. When I can, I don't even try. I try not to even cut the back of the suits, because some funeral directors will do all of that. But anyway, that's.
I never heard about that lighting. That makes sense. Yeah.
And last but not least, is the chapel. And I'm going to turn on some lights. Now you're seeing us as we work. That's why you see a lot of open doors. But this is the chapel, and in fact, we actually have funeral services in here. We have services both with the casket and body, and we have it for cremated remains also. So we do have memorial services. Ours is designed to fit 125 people, and basically we go from there. So, other than the offices of everybody, that's
okay.
You do have to have a high school education. A diploma is to become a funeral director. Yes.
Okay.
But to work here, no.
Okay.
My requirement is that you do at least have a 10th grade education, basically, and that reason is because you do have to take messages. You do have to answer the phone. It is everybody's responsibility to answer the phone, and you must be able to take accurate messages. The short answer to your question is no. The long answer to your question is yes.
So if you want to be the director, you need your high school degree. If you want to be
just an office person or just a worker around then
You can help out while you're finishing high school.
yes.
Okay, that's great to know. And that was a great question too.
Pay range can run anywhere from minimum wage
Mm-hmm.
to approximately $30,000 to $40,000 per year.
Okay. And that would be with your high school degree or with your...
High school degrees is going to be the lower part of that, the minimum wage to probably $15 per hour.
Right.
That way. Once you sort of get into the apprenticeship and the licensing part of it, then your pay goes up from there.
Okay. And someone asked, what is the hardest part of the embalming process?
There is, to me, and I guess I've done it so often that to me, there is no hard part to embalming.
Okay.
Psychologically, it would be embalming family members are trying to deal with, immediate family members. My sister had the opportunity to embalm my mother.
Wow.
I took the opportunity to embalm my father, and that was hard.
Oh yeah.
But then on the other hand, as far as those individuals that we come in contact with or who chooses us, there's not really the process itself is not really the hard part. Knowing it's not a matter of knowing what to do, it's a matter of knowing why you're doing it.
Okay. That was a good question too. I wouldn't have thought about your own family members. Wow. Another question, what is the average total cost for funeral services?
Funeral services, if you're speaking of funeral and burial, standard, you're looking at now around $10,000.
Okay. On average. Can you intern before going to college for the degree?
The short answer is there is no requirement, but most of us have found that before we do the internship, at least I've decided that I require you to be in college before I will offer or before I will take on an apprenticeship. Okay. Most funeral directors have the ability to intern. Well, we call it apprentice. We may have 2 apprentices at one time, and that's it.
Okay. For your apprenticeship, but as far as like the office workers, they would, okay. Just what specific degree would someone need if they were to work as an undertaker or funeral director? How long does the training take after college?
Again, if you have your degree, then the training is an hour. It's 1 year. Okay. If you have your degree, the training is a year. The degrees, there have been a myriad of degrees. My degree was in business administration. We have an embalmer who was a chemistry major, also a biology major. My sister was a math major, so I don't think that it is a matter of the degree itself. I think it's those core courses. I think that's what they look at, the core courses that you have.
Right, and that would be specifically the funeral director, but as far as like the actual embalming process?
The same.
Oh, okay.
Because of the specialized, I think if you take chemistry, because when science was a requirement when I went to school. So if you take your sciences, then that science class per se can translate into the embalming. So you definitely it helped me out to have chemistry, just like it helped. Anatomy, those particular their science classes do help if you're going to become an embalmer.
So the actual degree is a little bit flexible.
Definitely.
Okay. Great.
Because I do know, actually, I know of a funeral director who's an English, who's a retired English teacher.
Oh.
You know, so um,
And they do embalming as well?
and they do embalming as well.
Wow. So what was the funeral director licensing process he said?
The funeral director licensing process is mortuary school. High school diploma, mortuary school, and 1 year's apprenticeship.
Okay.
Okay. In between that, if you have the 4-year degree, then that reduces your mortuary school by 1 year.
Right. Okay.
I just want to tell you, thank you so much for allowing us to come into your establishment, sharing the knowledge of mortuary science with us, and allowing us to let our students know that there are other opportunities out there than the general ones that they hear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are truly appreciative of that, and we thank you and wish you much success.
Well, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
All right.